just barely catches it. Now Limon is going to try and overtake on Fonseca. Fonseca gives that one up, almost a little too wide there for Limon. Holds tough and sending it deep around the banking, and Shell Oil, he's going to take the spot back. Fonseca, that was a brilliant move. This is full drift here from the Japanese driver. Watch this. Unreal. That car should not be still going. That is just seat of your pants stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just kind of landed a little bit wrong for him, but fortunately, at least pointed in the right direction. This was crazy, though.
And hasn't been shaken, but man, they see close to that wall.
Look at him. Look at the oversteer. He looks to the inside. Michael tried to cover off. He's going to squeeze him down a little bit. Tries to open up the corner. Cut back and see if he can get the launch, and it's much quicker off. Oh, but he covers him down to the inside.
Oh my goodness, covers him down to the inside. I think there may have been a little bit of contact there, but Michael Johnson going to get the benefit of the draft here. You can see him closing down on the back of the 79. And there's the late move from Michael going down to the inside, trying to get into the braking zone.
The red mist is up for these two, and down into the braking. Can Johnson get it done? Yes, he does. Don't count out Travis. Tries to cut back. Goes the long way around. Nothing doing. No, he holds tight. He could try and get it in there. No, now he starts to fall back.
Starts to fall back. Going to try to send it a little bit on the outside of 15. Sometimes you can get a crossover there, but not going to work. He's going to have a wider line now into Turkey to try to carry a little bit more speed, but he's not going to find an easy way to try to get on by. And indeed, Michael Johnson just slides that car off the apex a little bit to prevent off any attack.
Layton's run of wins finally came to an end, but instead of Travis Brown or Michael Johnson being there to pick up the pieces, it was Corey Latvala. His first win of 2022 gets his championship hopes back on track and bumps him up to third in the points. Will Canada allow him to carry that momentum? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Porsche Owners Club Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. If you're not familiar with Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, it's certainly among the more popular venues for fans. Let's head to our track guide to find out more about it. Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Host of the Canadian Grand Prix for over 40 years, this track's popularity among fans refuses to wane. Although it has gone through a few alterations in its history, the nature of its layout has remained pretty much the same. That nature, of course, is that its 14 turns are mostly chicanes, split up by long straights to add up to a 2.7-mile street course-like canyon of a track. These 4.3 kilometers are mainly made up of actual streets on the man-made Ile Notre Dame, though portions are specifically built for the racetrack. But whether or not fans consider it a true street course, the close barriers that line the majority of the track don't care what you think. Places like the exit of Turn 4 and Turn 9 frequently collect the greedy. But these pale in infamy to the notorious Wall of Champions. Named for its penchant to collect F1 World Champions, the corner itself is called Quebec. Regardless, it's a finicky and tight chicane with a critical corner exit, so drivers are tempted into edging the car as close as they dare to the concrete. Despite the numerous heavy braking zones, passing can be difficult at times for certain types of cars. Often, attrition or cut course penalties play a bigger part in who finishes where. While sports cars and NASCAR have both made stops here, this place is mainly known for its history with Formula One. Named after what is easily Canada's most popular driver in the International Open Wheel Series, this semi-temporary circuit looks like it's actually here to stay for a long, long time. Well, DJ, this is certainly going to be a tricky one. I have to imagine that attrition might rear its ugly head today.
Yeah, it certainly is, Joe. Despite the fact that this is often thought of as one of the great road courses in the world, it's actually a temporary street circuit. And as such, the walls are very, very close around here and begging you to really come out and get taken by them. A couple of good overtaking opportunities, namely going down into the center chicane and down into the hairpin at the end of the lap. But from there on out, it's a lot of quick and fast chicanes that you really have to be on your toes for as you go through. Really and truly be on your toes is the way to talk about this. And of course, no other place that is more dangerous than the Wall of Champions. Coming off of that final chicane, it has caught out its fair few of drivers in real life, and I've got a sneaking suspicion that it'll catch a few out today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see at least someone clip it, if not fully run into it before this 30-minute race is over. Now, before the race actually happens, though, we do want to mention our sponsors, which includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviatequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants. Making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretired.com. Now, if we take a look at the championship, as I mentioned, Tom Layton has been dominating here. So, of course, he is up at the top currently. But obviously, with his poor performance, that brings him back a little bit. Now, they're going to have drop weeks come into play as well. So that will help him later on. But the more he uses, the worse shape he is in, that those could hurt him. And Michael Johnson is now within 15 points of him even. Now, Corey Latvala is jumped up to third, as I mentioned, past Travis Brown, which is interesting. Travis not having a good race last time either. He needs to turn things around today and try to get back into it. And then, of course, Michael Ost also kind of floundered last time out. So Michael Johnson, Corey Latvala, the ones that gained the most out of last time. But what about tonight? What are we seeing for today's race?
Well, Joe, talking about those race details, it is going to be a 30-minute race out there on track for round of 11 of 25 for this season-long series. As always, drivers are going to be using the 911 GT3R, so plenty of traction control and ABS to lean on a little bit, but that doesn't make these cars any less tricky to get right. As I said, a 30-minute race and an open setup, so drivers can tweak, tune a little bit, the aerodynamics and the damper settings, all that kind of stuff, but this is a pretty open series here, so lots of shared setups among the drivers.
And, well, they're going to need a quick setup, one that handles well in low-speed corners, because there's not a lot of fast ones out here, that's for sure. And Tom Layton, for a while, was not on the pole, but has now since taken it over. And it's about a quarter of a second. It was closer for a bit. Michael Johnson got it down to about 800ths, and now it has jumped back up. Corey Latvala could get to that front row. I see him within 4,000ths of Michael Johnson. And in fact, it looks like Corey is just finishing this current lap.
Yes, it is, and let's see if Corey's got anything here as he crosses over the line. Doesn't look like that's going to be an improvement there, so he is going to stay that 4,000ths of a second behind Michael Johnson. And, Joe, I've got to say here, for what we're used to seeing out of Tom Layton, a 2.5 advantage, not all that much. There's plenty of room here to fight back for the rest of these drivers.
And like I said, it was a lot closer for much of the qualifying. This is a half-hour qualifying, and they're only down to 8 minutes left. Looking to see who's coming through, and I do see Michael Ost coming through Quebec. past the wall of champions. There he is right now. And I think, actually, it looks like this might be an out lap. The 73 looks like he is down on pace here. And indeed, that one's not going to count. But he only has one timed lap thus far. So he definitely needs to get some more in. Oh, and actually, he just got demoted. Travis Brown went up to 4th himself. So second row for the 79 car.
Yeah, 135 there, a good lap for Travis. He'll be pretty pleased with that. Tom Layton coming to the line right now. He also is on an out lap. Doug Boccignoni, though, behind him, not on an out lap. Doug not going to be able to improve, though. He'll stay in 7th.
See Karasay crossing the line. It looks like that lap got deleted as well. Ting Guan is still out there, currently in 17th. Looks like Dong Nguyen, the only one with a time slower than hers right now. And then Dan Fendick is in the session, but I don't see him having set a single qualifying lap. Not sure what's going on there. So we go over to Matthew now as the 13 comes out and past the wall of champions himself. It does look like he is bettering his time currently. So as he crosses the line, will this do it? Yes, a 35.9 is going to be a decent jump, and that gets him into 10th.
Yes, it does. So a top 10 for him. He'll feel pretty happy about that. You see a couple of drivers coming out of pit lane here. Lucky that this is a sprint race and that we're not going to have to deal with any of the pit exit problems here, because it can be a very, very tricky pit exit, Joe.
Oh, and into the wall goes CPEC. So that is his lap over. He's got to have to take a spare car. Somebody had to avoid around him. That might be their lap ruined as well. But speaking of ruined laps, yes, they don't have the pit exit to worry about, but the chicanes scattered throughout the track. We've seen so many slowdown penalties in races here before. I have to imagine that's also going to be a deciding factor. And I think that was Leighton just throwing it into the wall of champions, and how appropriate.
Yes, it was. And as we said, probably not going to be the last one to do it out there tonight. We watch Corey Lockville here. He is on an out lap. So just warming everything up, getting everything ready to go. It is about 83 degrees track temperature right now. So just a little bit on the cool side as things go. It'll probably take about a full lap to get these tires right into that perfect operating window.
I'm looking around and nobody's really on a flyer right now. Bolton's looking like he's improving, but he's very early in the lap in the 127. So not sure that we'll see much out of him. Behind him, this is Corey Lotvila right now, who looks like he is on a flyer, but he's already down 3/10 at the start of the lap. Granted, he only needs to make up 4 1,000ths out here to get onto the front row. So there's not a high bar for this one, just needs to find something somewhere.
Yeah, it just needs a little bit to try to eke it out. And I think one of the things that may be helping him ever so slightly here is Michael Bolton just up the road from him. And, well, he needs to be a little bit closer. If he can maybe get a little bit of a draft. Oop, Corey doesn't like it. He's going to pull off to the side.
Oh, I'm surprised he's giving it up that early. It probably would have made more sense to stay out there, but he knows better than we do, and Bolton is going to carry on. And Michael is currently 2.5 seconds down on his best lap, so it doesn't look like we're going to see an improvement on this one for him. I do believe we've got another fresh face in here. Russell Elizondo, currently sitting in 16th. We'll see if he can go any higher than that on his first try out as he breaks down into turn 6. And on to 7. Coming up along the river here, this is one of the longer straights along this track, which gives you a chance to maybe pass into 8 during the race. But right now, he just wants to try and hit these corners perfectly.
Yeah, and gets a good clip at the curb there, coming through the first part of the corner, and good on the second. He could have run a little bit wider there on the exit to just try to carry momentum, but better be safe than sorry here in qualifying, as if he were to just even brush that wall a little bit, Joe, that would have discounted his lap.
Yeah, and not seeing anybody coming across improving right now. We just had a slew of cars all go by the finish line. Karasay is coming through, but he seems to be on a slower lap than usual, so maybe he's trying to set up. As down into Lepingle, we continue to watch Tom Layton try to get away from the others, but it has been cut down to now 4 hundredths of a second to Travis Brown, who on this most recent lap went faster. So that'll bump Johnson down to third and Latvala to the outside of the second row.
Yeah, some changing around here, but let's see if Tom has got any response. I'm not seeing any green sector times out of him. Good run there. Ooh, that may have been a brush of the wall of the champions there.
Let's see if that counted as a 0x or not as he crosses the line. Either it did or he had an off track somewhere, because yes, that lap did not count for him. Well, as we get down to the final 2 minutes, we're going to have drivers maybe get 2 more laps in if they hurry across the line, but I only see Tingwan, BJ Fulton, and Michael Robon looking like they're close enough to be able to do that here. Otherwise, everybody else is going to get 1 more flyer after this.
Yep, that's about what it's going to be as we watch Sam Mayorga here. Sam, interestingly, looks like he's coming to a halt there on the right side of the Casino Straight. Now we're going to follow Baccignoni as he comes down through Lapingle, bringing that car out. It's a very interesting hairpin there, Joe, because it's got such a wide exit that you really can get on the throttle a lot earlier than you would normally anticipate and carry momentum out around that outside.
By the way, BJ Fulton and Michael Robin both improved their laps last time by. I'm not sure that either of them actually gained positions, though. Seeing anybody else coming through here. And again, I've seen a lot of null and void laps. Mehmet Karasay is going to be the next one through. He starts his final lap. He does improve. 36.8 for him is not going to get him a position. He was a couple thousandths faster. Baccignoni doesn't find any time, and Michael Johnson is essentially done. I saw him try to leave the pit lane as somebody parks it there on the exit of the Senna S. And looks like Rondeau went faster. He goes up to 8th with that lap. Latvala starts his final flyer, and Aaron Edwards does as well.
Yes, they do. So we've got these drivers here trying to get the final laps done and dusted as we watch here Oost coming down through those final corners, down through Lapingle, as we said, able to carry that good momentum there around the outside, trying to see what he's got. I'm not seeing any green sectors here for him, but he can maybe gain something up here in this last one.
I think BJ Fulton is going to be very close on whether or not he can start another lap. The 423 is just out of the final chicane. Again, he went quicker to a 36.1 last time by, put him up into 12th. And this one was not faster. He crosses with just enough time to start one last one. What about Michael Oost? No, he parks it. He's done. Travis Brown is next. He'll get the checkered flag first. He crosses the line, and his lap gets deleted. Matthew Sepak in the 13. He doesn't have a lap count that time. He is stuck in that 11th spot. Jacob Abrams in 7th. Very good qualifying for him, but not able to improve, unfortunately.
Next car up in line is going to be Corey Latvala, only 0.004 of a second off of Michael Johnson in 3rd place, so he is going to be pushing like none other here. Comes through that final set, maybe a little bit too much of the curb there through the chicane.
Yeah, it looked like it to me. And coming down to the line, nope, lap was deleted for him as well. Michael Bolton is the next one in the 127. He'll be followed by, well, Elizondo was slow, so I think, yeah, he's definitely done. That means Bolton's our last driver to set a time. He's in 10th. Can he go higher than that 5th row? No, he pulls over and slows down. That is it for our qualifying here today for round 11. Well then, it looked briefly like maybe somebody could best Leighton, but once again, he shows himself to be one of the quickest. However, it is about as tight as it has been in many races for that top spot. Tom Leighton going to begin from the pole. He'll want that track position here today. Travis Brown will start next to him. It's going to be Michael Johnson from P3, followed by Corey Latvala in the 4th spot. Then you've got Michael Oost starting P5. Doug Baccignoni will be on the outside of row 3. And Jacob Abrams with an excellent qualifying in 7th. Mark Rondeau starts from 8th. It'll be Sam Mayorga in 9th. And Michael Bolton rounds out your top 10.
Starting off at 11th, it's going to be Matthew Sepak, followed by BJ Fulton with Mehmet Karasay and Michael Robon in row 7 behind them. Row 8 is going to be Aaron Edwards and Russell Elizondo with Tingwan and Doug Nguyen in 17th and 18th. Dan Fendick not setting a time down there. He will start off in 19th.
So 19 car field here today at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. These Porsches are raring and ready to go. But who can survive amongst the walls? It might be a case of just keep it on the track and you'll get a good result. We certainly saw that at VIR, which was not the track we expected that to be the case, DJ.
No, not at all. VIR, one of the more difficult tracks here on the sim, but we're going to have to see what happens here today. Plenty of opportunity to get that slipstream down the long casino straightaway. It's going to be an interesting play to see what goes.
Obviously, a rolling start here in this series, so they're waiting for the Porsche pace car to lead them on a very brief pace lap. They'll start here along the casino straight next to the rowing lake and go through the Quebec chicane, and the pace car will release them on their 30-minute adventure here. Just about have everybody already out there gridding up nice and quickly. This group. It's been somewhat cloudy, it seemed like. I've seen a lot of dark periods out on the track. Obviously, right now we're getting some sun breaking through, so I'm not at least anticipating that temperature getting up too high.
No, nor am I, Joe. In fact, it's actually fallen by a degree since we last talked about it, down to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. The other thing I want to bring your attention to, that wind speed, 12 miles an hour out of the west. That's going to be a little bit of a headwind going down the back straightaway. That's going to help out the draft a little bit. That's going to make things a little bit easier to try to get that slipstream pass done going down into the Quebec chicane.
All right, so Tom Layton finally had his first race since round 2 that he did not win, at least that he attended. He had to miss round 5, could not be there, but otherwise it was a streak of 6 races in a row for him. And that is what has given him such a huge gap. In fact, that last race was only the second time he didn't finish on the podium this season when he arrived. Looks like the pace car is off. Layton is going to wait for the green flag to be waved. They cannot go until Barney gives the signal. Looking for it. It tends to be a bit of a long wait here at this track. And there it is. Green flag is out. And it's a pretty good start for his 2 rivals directly behind him. We could have a 3 wide. No, it's going to be a little bit of a back out from Michael Johnson. Does not want to risk it into the first corner. Travis Brown solidifies that second place. Third goes to Corey Lotfula, who sneaks by Michael through the center chicane. Everybody else managed to get through cleanly.
Yeah, that little bit of hesitation there from Michael Johnson, opening up the door for Corey Lotfula, and Lotfula needed absolutely no invitation, absolutely pounced on it to be able to get himself ahead, and starting to pull away here a little bit is Tom Layton and Travis Brown from Lotfula. They've got about 0.5 of a second.
Still very close up at the front. If the qualifying times are any indication, it's going to be tough for Tom to try and shake Travis Brown. Yes, he's going to be giving the slipstream to him, but then he's got to try and overtake him as well. So coming out of 8 and 9, looks like Lotfula is still holding on to that 3rd spot, and we had an issue with Aaron Edwards. He is off at turn 8. Looks like he's going to be able to get back to the track. I don't see any damage on the car, so maybe he'll be able to carry on.
Yeah, he looks to be relatively okay. I think he may have just outbraked himself a little bit going down into the chicane. That's a common thing to see. Tom Layton here starting to stretch his legs a little bit. He's got the gap up to 0.6 of a second as they fly down the casino straight.
Looking for the braking into the wall of champions. Layton gets through there nicely. So does Brown, so does Lotfula, so does Johnson. So top 4 are clean through, watching the rest of the field behind. And not seeing any major issues through there yet. Looks like everybody's trying to pay heed to that nefarious chicane. Meanwhile, into the first corner, Brown now starting to drop off of Layton. It's already a second up to the 97.
Yes, it is. Tom just looking like he's able to get the power down off of that last sector a little bit better. I'm not sure necessarily if Travis made a mistake through there, but it just looks like that Layton's got the legs on him.
Sounds like there's a meatball flag for Aaron Edwards, so he must have hit the wall pretty hard. I do see he made a little bit of contact, I think, side to side with Elizondo, so that could have bent the suspension as well, and that gives you a must repair flag as well. Either way, it sent him into the pits to take his spare car, and he is back out on the lead lap, but way, way behind the rest of them.
Yeah, it looks like he's about 22 seconds behind, so he is going to have a whole lot of work to do and have to hope for a little bit of attrition if he wants any of that to happen. Here's a replay.
Yeah, there's the initial contact that sent him into the wall. He just kind of skidded along it, and he couldn't slow it down in time. Big, big impact. So either one of those definitely could have done the job. And at least he's back out and racing, but man, it's going to be difficult, and he's got to hope that others have some issues throughout the day. Ooh, Michael Ost and Doug Baccignone side by side. Ost on the outside, but with the nose ahead, and it looks like he's gone through, but he's going to be slow off the corner. Here comes Doug right back at him.
And that's one of the problems if you try to make that pass going down into Quebec. That's going to be Marc Rondeau trying to tow along as well, figuring out which lane to go on. Ost going to be a little bit better on the binders down into the Senna S. Rondeau trying to push them wide, and that's Baccignone going around.
Oh, he wants to come back to the track, and thankfully he does not pull in front of his rivals, and nobody hits him. Man, all the way down to 16th from that one. Eventually, he is back on the gas, but one little slip up, and he lost a lot of positions. It's going to be difficult to make the overtakes and get those back here today. We've already seen that most drivers seem to be having quite a tough time executing.
Yeah, very much so, Joe. And back to Bacciagnone's spin there, you know, that's a very easy thing to do coming through the Senna S like that. It's a flat corner with the rear engine, rear wheel drive of these Porsches. You get on the throttle a little bit too hard, too early. You get the merest of wheel spins, and that'll just send the car right around through that section, and that's what happened to Doug.
Watching Rondeau there, but just behind him, looks like Abrams and Bolton might have a fight carrying on. And we'll see who gets the better exit out of Lepingle. Pretty decent for all parties as we hop on board with the 127. Going to try and pick up the slipstream as they start to speed up, already over 135 miles an hour.
Yeah, and here it is. This is where you want to be putting minimal inputs onto the steering wheel. Just let the car tow you around. Remember, I talked about that headwind here. Going to be helping out the draft a little bit. Then back down onto the binders there for Michael Bolton. He's going to try to gain a little bit as they come, but it looks like here he's going to be just too far back of Abrams to really get a pass done.
So it's not going to happen this time. But he could maybe try and use that pressure, just stay right underneath that rear wing. And he is very, very close here. So all he has to do is keep filling the mirrors of that 728 car, especially in these sections where the walls are right next to the track.
And this is where it looks like a street circuit. Very, very small room for error here as they come. Working down now into the left-hander and now the right-hander trying to get the power on. You don't want to be clipping up too much of the curb there as you go along. Looks like there that Bolton got a little bit of a better run on Abrams. Not going to be close enough to execute, though.
No, just too far behind right now. Ooh, but way off the apex for Abrams, and he gains all that time right back. Bolton is on it once again. He could try it into Lepingle. I wouldn't say that's the way to go. I think it'd be go for corner exit.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Joe. Try to take a little bit of a later apex. Oh, is Russell Elizondo off, going through the final set of chicanes before Lepingle, and smartly staying off track until everybody's passed him by.
That's where he had that contact before, but this time it was not contact. He just spun it on his own in the 101 and is still ahead of Aaron Edwards, but now only by about 10 seconds. So I guess, I don't know if you count that as karma or what, but he is certainly with the driver that he had disadvantaged before. Meanwhile, down the front stretch, Leighton leads this group of cars as we watch Bolton and Abrams, still one of our closest fights in the top 10. And Bolton still unable to try and get himself side by side, but much more tidy off the exit of the Senna S.
Yeah, he's able to keep it together a little bit there, and sometimes you can see a dive here going down into this first set of chicanes. Not going to be close enough there for Bolton, but I like what he's doing. Just applying that pressure, keeping it up as much as possible on the back of Jacob Abrams, seeing if he can force a mistake.
He doesn't have much pressure from behind either, which is definitely helpful for him. BJ Fulton's the next one back. That could also change. It's about 1.5 seconds. He's definitely still close enough. He could try and cut that down with a few good laps. And you could see the cloud cover once again starting to darken the field. And through 8 and 9, Bolton just stuck at this distance of about half a second up to Jacob Abrams. At times he's gotten much closer, but can't really seem to do much more than just kind of sit tight right here.
Well, he got very, very close through Lepingle there. Let's see if he's able to get a better run off of the corner. No, I think that was just a little bit of the Constantina effect. Everything's staying at about 0.4 of a second in between these two. Just waiting here for this to pop off. I've got to think if Abrams maybe makes a little bit of a mistake here going through Quebec, that could be the chance to pounce.
Let's see if he does. It was a little wide at one point. He got close to the wall, but it wasn't enough of a mistake from Michael. He'll gain a bit of time. It's down to 0.2 of a second, and still he is too far away as they break for the opening chicane once again. Ahead of them, Abrams has been following Rondeau. Wonder if he's less focused backwards, more focused forwards, although he made a poor exit out of that first chicane. And now, once again, Bolton seems to get almost to where he could reach out and touch that red and white number 728, and nope, he loses more time in turns 3 and 4.
And that is one of the frustrating things here at Canada, Joe. You see all these chicanes, you see the straightaways, you think you're going to be able to make these passes, but the course just doesn't exactly play it out that way, and you've just got to be patient. You've just got to hit your own marks all the way through. That's the only way you're going to be able to even get it close to getting a pass done.
Heading for Lepingle. This whole group has just kind of been at the same distance for much of this race. Michael Ost, Mark Rondeau, Jacob Abrams, Michael Bolton. All four of them. You can almost count Michael Johnson in there too. He's looks like about a second ahead of Ost right now and falling away from our leaders. As we look a little farther back at a closer fight. Whoa, very, very close here. Robin trying to keep Carasay from making an overtake. Baccignone giving watch. He's on a recovery drive. He probably has better pace than both of them.
I think he certainly does, but he's going to have to hold in line here a little bit because I think it's Mehmet Karasay that's going to be going for the move, and indeed, he's going to dive down to the inside here of Robin, but Robin able to be better onto the binders. No pass incoming quite yet.
Karasay falls back once again. It was a tantalizingly close proposition, but decided it wasn't worth the risk this time. We're through the first third of this race now, and passes are at a premium. You seem to need a significant pace advantage to really get this done.
Yeah, you really do, Joe. Karasay here just trying to do what we saw earlier from Bolton and Abrams. Just keep that pressure up. Maybe see if he can force Robin into a little bit of a mistake, brush the wall coming through one of these tighter sections, but thus far not looking like that's going to be happening.
Very good run through 6 and 7 from Karasay. Almost looks like that car handling a lot better through the corners, especially the slower corners, the way he catches up. He's going to need that, especially at Lepingle once again, to try and get that slipstream. Doesn't go for it. Oh, a little hot there for Robin. Oh, too hot, and he spins off. Here's the mistake that we were watching for. Robin gives it up, and Karasay moves to 12th.
Ooh, and almost getting collected there by Tingwan as she went on by. But I think here Baccignoni's going to maybe have a little bit of interesting. Well, no, he's going to fall back a little bit as they got pretty close coming into Lepingle. I thought Doug was going to be able to have a shot to go after him there, but not quite close enough.
So Edwards, Elizondo, Baccignone, and now you can count Robin in and amongst those that have fallen victim to the chicanes of this track. Coming through the final of those, past the wall of champions, Karasay still holding Baccignone to the aft, I should say, of him. Oh, whoa, very late move. I did not expect that. Neither did Karasay as they come together.
Banging doors going down into the Senna S. I've got to say, I think that was a little over-aggressive there from Doug Baccignone.
Yeah, he came in way, way late. Tried to get it woed up so they didn't run into him, but there's only so much room in that corner. Mehmet still has the spot. Baccignone not taking it over, thinking probably sportsmanlike conduct, doesn't want to shove him through rudely, and once again, a little bit deep from Mehmet. We don't know if he's got damage from that contact.
Yeah, we don't. He could have a little bit of sidewall damage there to the car that could be affecting his aerodynamics just a little bit. But here comes Doug thinking about a move to the outside, going down into the chicane. He's going to have to be very brave to do it and pulls it off.
Round the outside, nicely done by the 59, but fighting back. Mehmet Karasay goes for the move down into Lepingle. He's on the outside. He could go for the over-under. He sends it in deep. He's going to give it a huge run if he can just get the throttle down. And it's not as big as I thought it would be. Still, he gets the tow.
Yes, he does, and now it's going to be a question of what he is going to be able to do with it. That gap coming down there a little bit. Mehmet popping out to the inside. I think that was a little bit too early for him to be doing that, and indeed, he's going to fall back in line as they go through Quebec.
Took a bit, but Baccignone eventually gets up into 12th. Still a long ways to go back to where he started this race. He's still 6 positions down from where he began. And he's got, 9 seconds up to Matthew in the 13 car. So certainly plenty to do as we head over to Michael Johnson, who is starting to look like maybe he is causing something of a holdup.
Yeah, certainly is here. That's Michael Ost, Mark Rondeau, Jacob Abrams, Michael Bolton, all running pretty much line astern directly behind Michael Johnson. So I've got to agree with you there, Joe. He is the cork in the bottle here at this point.
Moving back through 8 and 9. If he makes any sort of error, Ost, Rondeau, Abrams, all going to be pouncing and trying to zip past. Because if they can make the overtake, it's still 2.5 seconds up to Latvala. It's not a huge distance. It's just big enough that they got to be maybe slightly concerned now if they feel like they've got better pace than the 9.
Yeah, and that's just going to be the thing. But as we've seen here, it's so difficult to try to get on by. I mean, really what you've got to do is try to force an error, specifically, I would say, coming through Quebec here. That's going to be one of your best areas to do it if you can force the driver to maybe take a little bit too much of the curbing. But Michael Johnson, a very, very experienced driver, and more importantly, a very consistent driver. It's going to be hard to fluster him.
I hope I'm not speaking too soon here, but I got to give credit to the field. We've had a single car use their fast repair in this race. That was Aaron Edwards, and that was because of contact over anything else. We have had a couple drivers clip one another, but otherwise, I thought that, by this point of the race, we'd see a couple of them already out.
Yeah, I kind of did too, Joe. I expected the Walls and the Armco around here to really catch out a couple of these drivers, but everybody doing such a fantastic job keeping it between the lines and keeping it on the black stuff.
Wonder if this is a case of when the threat of ending your race is there, you give it a little bit of space, and maybe everybody's backing it down to 99, 98% to keep the car in control in hopes that they can capitalize on others having problems. And Johnson starts to look a little bit stronger here, getting it up to nearly 0.8 of a second over Ost this time. Oh, and there is a recent victim of the track. Trying to figure out who that is. Is that Karasay?
Yes, it is. And it looks like he's got some pretty heavy front end damage to that car, looking a little bit crinkled in there, Joe.
Trying to see if this is a solo incident since he just made that pass, or was passed rather. And yes, it was. Looks like the curbs caught him out coming out of 7, spun it to the inside and did bang into the nose of the Porsche. Thankfully, that shouldn't hurt the engine since it's not there. And we'll see if he keeps going after this. And ooh, look at this. This is the closest we've seen this fight in a while. Jacob Abrams actually feeling the need to go defensive down into the center chicane.
Yeah, he was able to hold it out there. Looked like Bolton trying to get a little bit of a better run there, letting the car run wide to carry it up and over. Well, now he's going to poke to the outside there a little bit, trying to go down into the first chicanes. Not going to play out.
Just got fed out there as Jacob Abrams having none of that. Oh, and another driver, this time out of the first turn. This is Matthew Cepek, who thankfully does not get hit by Baccignone. And it's another self-spin.
Yeah, not sure.
GSRC wanted to try and take advantage of that and just didn't have enough straightaway. Sorry, go ahead, DJ.
No, I was just going to say there as he came back around and talking about that battle with GSRC trying to force his nose in there, and a good point of discretion to back off there a little bit.
So now we're starting to see a few drivers having trouble out here, but still, most of them getting away rather lightly in terms of the damage compared to what I expected. In fact, after that hit, it seems like CPEC has his speed pretty well. We might want to go back to Rondeau. He's going very defensive into Quebec right now. Jacob Abrams breathing down his neck.
Yeah, this is getting very, very feisty there, and a little bit of a bad run for Michael Bolton hopping over the curbs at Quebec. That's going to slow him down a little bit, but let's see here if Abrams is going to have a little bit of a poke out on Rondeau as they go down into the Senna S. Nope, they're going to stay in line, but Abrams keeping up the pressure.
And look at Bolton start to close up. It's becoming a three-car fight now. He wants them to battle. That'll give him his best chance to try and get involved. And then in front of them, it seems like Johnson and Ost are also closing in once more. It's been a bit of an ebb and flow here in this race, and as we approach the final third, the flow is going towards the attackers over the defenders.
Yes, it is. Great run there through the second set of chicanes for Jacob Abrams. He's really got a good run here. We saw Doug Boccignoni be able to send a move around the outside. I don't think Jacob's going to be close enough to get anything done here, and indeed, no.
Sits patient, just follows the racing line. Oh man, he's taking it right out to the edge of the wall there as they approach Lepingle. Is he going to maybe try and send one up here? He's mighty close. No, he will once again not try it. And then, oh, he's a lot tighter coming off the corner, but he gets a little bit of wheel spin on the last part of the exit.
Yeah, gets a little bit of wheel spin. That's going to scupper him there just a little bit as they go. He's not really going to be able to get it in here, but remember, the best way to get that pass done is to force the error going down through Quebec. Let's see if he can hold it out.
This is where he needs that great exit to get a second shot at it. Into the first chicane, past the start-finish line, but nah, this doesn't look like enough to me. And they're also starting to leave Bolton once again. For a while, he was so close to the back of them, and now they've shaken him for a little bit. Man, Abrams looks like he is so much stronger through the corners, and yet Rondeau is not fazed by it. This could be a good spot if he just gets a good exit, but can't seem to find any way around.
No, not really able to get much of anything there as they go. Oh, you see just how close he's getting, though, trying to poke his nose this way and that, almost giving him a little bit of a bump draft.
Man, qualifying has proved to be so essential in today's race. Of the top 7, only 3 have changed positions. Lotvilla's up 1, Johnson down 1, and then Rondeau is up 2. Looks like Ting Wan is the latest to need her spare car. She's taken that and is back out. And last, and Rondeau finally has the, Abrams has the momentum. He gets by Rondeau, but Rondeau shut the door on Bolton hard there. Oh, going. They're going to come together, and they're all 3 going to hit at once out through Lepingle. Rondeau's off the track. He tries to hold on to it. Thankfully, does not run into the side of Abrams a second time, but he's lost speed, and Bolton is going to be the one that gets to take advantage of everything.
And Joe, that number 11 of Rondeau is crabbing. I think he may have some suspension damage.
Oh, my goodness. It all came to a head. It started to boil. It was quite the pressure cooker, and unfortunately 2 victims out of that one, Abrams and Rondeau. Bolton, though he didn't get away scot-free, has gained 2 spots. He's up 4 now from his 10th position.
That's just a great run there for him. You've got to give credit to Michael Bolton, just being heads up, playing it out exactly as he should. Probably not going to be able to catch up to Michael Ost here in the final 8.5 minutes, as he's still got about 3 seconds to catch up to Ost, but still a great run here for the 127.
This has got to be gutting for Rondeau, but his pace has been so good that incident still slots him back out into 13th after taking his spare car. Unfortunately, I believe that's only going to be 2 points unless he gets up to 10th or higher from here. So he's going to have to hustle. He's only got 8 minutes to try and overtake about 3 cars.
Yeah, he's going to really have to get a move on here if he wants to be able to get anything done. But time running out a little bit. I've got to say, though, I want to give some credit to Jacob Abrams. He's keeping things nice and close. But there's the battle for P1. Tom Layton only leading by 1.8 seconds. That's one of the slimmer margins we've seen Layton have this season.
It really is. So that pace difference that we saw in qualifying, I think that was legit. Brown keeping him honest all race long, unless Layton is sandbagging and just managing the gap here and trying to keep his car whole as well. They certainly, I think they're running a pretty good pace here because they've dropped Latvala by 6.5.
Yeah, they are just absolutely cruising up here out front, really running their own race.
Well, behind those top 3, Michael Johnson still is in 4th and is still ahead of Ost. There you see them on screen now. That's Johnson in the blue and yellow, Ost in the blue, white, and black machine. But Bolton, because of the dramas that we saw into Lepingle, is now about 2.3 seconds behind. And oh, wow, he's getting some pressure from Abrams, who would like that position back.
Yes, he would. There you can see him just on the background of your shot. Abrams almost pushing him down here as they go. I don't think Abrams is going to be able to have the jump. Oh, he's going to go for it.
Oh, he jumped right off the track, though. That was way too deep, and that is going to put paid to that battle. He comes back onto the circuit a full 2.5 seconds behind Bolton. Unless Michael makes his own mistake, Jacob Abrams has handed that one over to the 127.
Yeah, that is going to be too little too late for him to be able to catch back up on anything there. BJ Fulton behind him. BJ not having the best run out here today. He's about 2 seconds back to them, so I think this is going to be pretty lonely sailing here for Jacob for the rest of the race.
So Layton just went by with about 5.5 minutes left to go. So this is going to be, I think, 4 laps left for Tom Layton from here. And we had a pass for 15th as Elizondo and Nguyen changed spots. Think that was just a case of Nguyen handing it over. It looks like he kind of pulled to the side and let Russell through. He's usually a driver that tries to just get to the finish. Not seeing the heroics that we saw out of Nguyen back at VIR here in Canada.
No, not seeing it, and he really did put in a fantastic drive there as we watch Rondeau getting by Carasay there, and there are those two that we talked about, Elizondo and Doug Nguyen, as they come up and over. Good lines for both of them there coming through Quebec. A good chunk of curb there for the 101, but that is a good solid line to take through there. Can carry a lot of speed.
Man, after a few drivers gained position after position back in Virginia, the hardest chargers here today are only 4 up. That's both Bolton and BJ Fulton. BJ still recovering from his accident at Laguna Seca in the real world and doing a pretty good job on it. But last time he was up on the podium, this 8th will probably not, it'll probably be underwhelming in comparison to that, as we watch Nguyen still at least hang out behind Elizondo. He may have let him by, but Dung's actually holding tight.
Yeah, he's not letting them slip away off into the distance, so you've got to be a little bit impressed by that. The one thing that Dunk's going to have working against him is that he's about 1.3 seconds behind right now. That does mean that he is going to be out of the effective draft range, so he's not going to get that pull down the long Casino Straight.
Yeah, fell a little too far behind, but the pace seems pretty decent. Out of our 19 starters, 19 are still on track, or did I speak too soon? Ting Nguyen, no, Aaron Edwards. It was Aaron Edwards, just got passed by Ting Nguyen after Aaron had another problem in the 8-9 complex, and that was where he had his issue. I think it was on lap 1.
Yeah, a lot of drivers getting caught out by that, Joe. And one of the reasons it's harder to really get right is there we see him going a little bit wide, taking a new line through Lepingle, is you frankly lose a little bit of sight lines as you come under the bridge. That change in lighting can throw you off a little bit, and it can make you miss your braking zone.
And it is slightly curved there too, so it's not easy. Meanwhile, as we look at the last driver in the field, oh, Dan Fendick had a problem, And there it is right there, coming through Quebec. He bounds over the curbs and then comes back to the track. Now he is the last one on track and is about 20 seconds ahead of Tom Layton. It looks like it's not looking like Tom will lap anybody unless we get more issues from the back markers like that. And Tom is now getting the 2 to go as he just crosses the start-finish line.
Yeah, and he's grown that gap over Travis Brown just a little bit. It's up to about 2.6 seconds, so plenty of breathing room here for the 97. He's just going to be able to be in full cruise mode at this point.
Yeah, he's managed it excellently here today. Travis Brown, just even though he kept up on pace, didn't really seem to have what he needed to at least try and challenge for the win. But it's not over. Obviously, if Tom has another incident, and we know he's human, he had his own share of issues back at Virginia International Raceway. And Travis is close enough to pick up the scraps should that happen. Obviously, last time out, it was Corey Lotvilla that did so. Corey's back down in third, but he's a little too far behind unless Travis gets collected and something happening to Tom, and those two have major damage. Corey's so far back, I just, there's about a full spin's worth for Tom Layton. He could still be ahead of the 22 after that. And we are under the 1 lap length time, so white flag being prepared now in Barney's hands, as that is another one of our drivers heading down through Lapingle. That was Corey Lotvilla that we saw on screen in the 22. And here is your leader getting ready to get the 1 to go signal.
Yeah, just taking a good amount of the curve there coming through Quebec, and Barney's got that white flag in his hands, and there it waves as there is Tom Layton, 1 lap to go and 2.2 seconds ahead of his rival. But Joe, very, very close in the back between Michael Johnson and Michael Ost.
Yeah, Ost was right there coming through the final chicane, but he fell off slightly. He's got to get closer once again. If he wants to make an attack, he needs to really chuck it into the corner and force Johnson to have to give up the apex here. As we watch our leader, Tom Layton, it's still at 2 seconds. He gave up a bit of time, not a whole lot. Look at the brake rotors glowing, though, in these cars. This track known for being very brake intensive.
Yeah, really, really takes him out as you go around. Very, very tough to be able to get it right. But drivers here doing a fantastic job. Layton starting to close in on the back here of Dan Fendick. He may get to him before the race is over.
Let's see. And yeah, I didn't think he would, but Fendick apparently not running all that quickly right now. Wonder if he's got a bit of damage, or maybe he just doesn't want to have to do an extra lap around here. This is a good spot to let him by if he does want to cut this race a lap short. And yep, he just got on the radio, and that's a lift. So we will have 1 lapped car in this race for Tom Layton, and I'm sure he's glad about that. Less headache to deal with as he is going to get back onto the top step of the podium. It was a mere hiccup back in Virginia for the 97 as he wins at Montreal.
A fantastic run for Tom Layton. That's going to be Travis Brown coming home behind him. Corey Lotvilla will take third, and it looks like Michael Johnson will be able to hold on to that 4th place position.
And Corey Lotvilla in third on the podium. Behind them, quite spread out throughout the field. After we had such a long train of cars from essentially 4th on down to, it was I think about 8th, it all just kind of eased away from one another. And they're all kind of cruising in across the line from here. Looks like Baccignoni going to manage to at least get back to the top 10, but wound up 4 down from where he started.
Yeah. He'll be 4 down. This is a little bit strange. Is that, are we out of fuel here, Joe?
It might be. It seems like, yeah, Aaron Edwards going slow. And, well, he's not going to lose any positions. He was down in 18th, so he just winds up finishing where he was. And Ting Wan will get 17th out of that as the last of them cross the line. Let's head to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
Welcome back to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Round 11 here in the Porsche Owners Club Series saw Tom Layton get back on top for his 7th win of the season. Travis Brown kept him within 2 seconds for much of the race, but just didn't have the legs. It was Corey Latvala who got himself another podium as Michael Johnson now finishes 4th. Michael Ost was P5 today. Michael Bolton was 6th, sharing hard charger duties there. Jacob Abrams was 7th as BJ Fulton was the other hard charger. Both he and Bolton up 4 positions in this race. Sam Mayorga was 9th and Doug Baccignone finished 10th.
In 11th, it was Matthew Sipik, followed by Mark Rondeau with Mehmet Karasay and Michael Robon rounding out the top 14. Russell Elizondo was 15th with Dung Nguyen, Ting Nguyen, and Aaron Edwards rounding out the top 18. Dan Fendick finishing 1 lap down.
Well, you just can't keep a good man down, and Tom Layton has shown that here today as he returns to the top step of the podium. Tom, I said at the close of the race it was a mere hiccup for you, it seemed, as you came back up. But Travis, very close in pace. Were you managing that gap, or was he hustling you?
Oh, he was hustling. I was pushing 100% the whole time, and I think I did pretty well just to avoid mistakes. So did he. He started catching me, got back down to about a second gap. I was worried that, maybe he's running more wing and his tires are just going to be conserved a lot better than mine or something. And it was close, but he was fast. It was a good battle.
Did that make things a bit uncomfortable here? Because this track, with it being a street course, you really could not step over the edge in most places. And with him pushing you, I have to imagine that you kind of had to take this to a place that you maybe didn't want to.
Yeah, a little bit. But, I had a good practice race earlier and earlier in the week and going up against Michael Johnson, he got ahead of me at the start. And for the life of me, I could not pass him. And I was learning how he was defending and picking up some little tricks and things like that. So I had a little bag of tricks if Travis did end up catching me.
Might be a little harder to hold people back down in Florida. Daytona offering so much slipstreaming on the oval. What are you going to do? Any tricks over there that you can employ?
Low downforce. We'll try and figure out how to make that work.
Well, we'll watch out for that. Congratulations returning back up to winner's circle. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I want to thank my sponsors, HPS and FR Sport. And thank you guys for the great broadcast, and thank all my competitors for such a good time.
That was Tom Layton from pole to victory lane for him. Up next, DJ's caught up with Travis Brown, who was the one chasing him.
Yes, I have indeed. And Travis, this is really the closest we've seen you get up to Tom. What was your secret today? Just a track that suited you, or were you pushing extra hard?
No, yeah, I do like this track a lot, and I feel like I could have maybe taken it to him more if I'd practiced and done a little setup, but I used a setup I had from a few years ago and tons of updates to the car. So I didn't even have time to play with the wing. I realized afterwards, I was talking to Tom, why I was making no progress on the straights. He was running a 1 wing and I was running a 6. So it was great for through the corners and super stable, helped me put down a good quality lap. But, I didn't really have a chance unless he made a mistake, and that's rare with Tom. So I'm happy with my second, though, because my goal was just no mistakes tonight after my several accident-prone previous races.
Well, you were able to do that, and obviously around a track like Montreal that is known for catching some drivers out, that's got to feel pretty good. Are you starting to think about the long-term implications of this, trying to close down on the championship a little bit?
Honestly, no. I mean, if I'm being real, Tom's already kind of got it locked down. So I'm just I want to take a couple races down between now and then. Uh, Obviously, we got to race them all, but he's super consistent. And my big thing, I just got to find time to practice. So if I can do that, I feel like I can do a little better. I'm glad my lack of practice didn't translate into errors tonight, but I made the high downforce call just to make it super stable. So it worked out.
Well, speaking of the opposite of high downforce, really, we go to Daytona next. Is that a place you think you're going to be able to get some good runs on?
I hope so. I love Daytona. A lot of good racing there, and had a good race with Corey there last year. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, as the draft is super strong there, and there's no option except to run low downforce. So no, I'm pumped. I think it's going to be a great race.
Well, I know I'm looking forward to it, Travis. But as for tonight, anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out and a big thanks to my wife. She made a extra delicious dinner, and has been super encouraging with all the races, and listens to my moping around after I did poorly last week. So I'm sure she's relieved that I'll be in a good mood tonight.
I love that, Travis. Well, thank you, and congratulations again, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
That was Travis Brown, your third place finisher. And Joe, I believe you've caught up, that was our second place finisher. I believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, Corey Lotfula.
Indeed. Corey was the one, though, that couldn't seem to keep the pace of Tom and Travis. They started to really pull away from you. So at that point, did you feel like, okay, let's consolidate third, or were you still hoping that maybe you could catch up to them?
Oh, no, I was very, very happy with third place. I came into this race as almost a throwaway race. I actually downloaded the track today, and just the practice from today, I was able to pull off the third. I was really happy with it.
Wow, that's actually very impressive, especially considering how unforgiving this place is. Well, how did you manage to adapt and find speed so quickly?
Oh, man, I don't know. I feel like the setup on the car is really good. It was good last race, and I kind of just made a few adjustments, dropped the wing, basically took the wing off and wasn't even using it. It was so low. And I don't know, it just felt really good. The car stuck, and yeah.
Well, being comfortable in a low downforce setup is probably going to be helpful when you head off to Florida. So do you consider that sort of a strength of yours, a car that's quick in a straight line?
Yeah, it feels good. Just when the wing comes off, the front end feels like it's just grabbing more. But yeah, the car felt great.
Great stuff. And I have to ask, since we just heard, who's your friend?
Travis? I don't know. Did he say something?
No.
Oh, the dog in the back. Oh,
dog. Yes.
New German Shepherd. 18 weeks old. So, yep.
Oh, we'll have to see photos at some point. That was Corey Lotfula, our third place finish. Congratulations on the podium.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Schmidt Racing, all my friends and family. I have a bunch of friends watching. I love it hearing from them, and you guys for putting it on, and thanks to the POC.
So that is our podium here today, and that's going to close us out. Also, we want to thank our sponsors of this series, which is, of course, Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank. Be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to OctaviaTequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here, and additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out our Bandcamp for more great work. Thank you to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. And check out our merchandise store. It's gsrc.storenvy.com, and there's a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As we said, in a couple weeks' time, it's off to Daytona, Monday, June 20th at 11 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.